welcome to Bank Breakers. I'm your host, Billy Breed, and as always, I'm going commando. So happy to have you here with us today because I have copious amounts of advice to give you. I mean, look at all these pages of advice. It's not just for me, I want to share it with you. So let's get into it. As always, we open with quarterbacks.
I'm dead sexy.
My first value pick has rebounded so well from the few bad games he's played this year, you might just want to set him up with one of your single friends. On the 2015 season, Carr is averaging 266.2 yards a game for 2.3 touchdowns a game. And in his last 4 games, is averaging over 300 yards and over 3 touchdowns a game. This week he plays Detroit, who ranks 30th when defending the pass. He's owned in 14% of the leagues, but who gives a shit? Play him. He's a rebound guy, so either set him up with a single friend or play him. My second value pick plays for the worst organization in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. On this season, Stafford is averaging 258.3 yards a game for 1.7 touchdowns, but in his last 4 games has tossed it for over 279 yards and over 2 touchdowns a game. This week he plays Oakland, who ranks 27th in defending the pass, and like I just told you about Derek Carr, it's going to be a shootout. That's why I like both these guys. If you need more convincing, this is what his wife looks like.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
My hidden gem this week, you just gotta bear with me for a second, right? I'm a little nervous to say his name. I feel like I'm gonna lose half the viewership, and the other half is just gonna think I'm an absolute idiot, alright? It's Mark Sanchez. Just don't. In the 8 starts Sanchez had in 2014, he tossed it for 277 yards a game and 1.5 touchdowns. And in his last 2 starts, threw it over 330 yards with 2 touchdowns a game. He also plays Tampa Bay this week, who ranked 22nd against the pass and are giving up 235.9 yards a game and 2.1 touchdowns to opposing quarterbacks. And he's not owned at all, in only 2.5% of the leagues. Listen, when the researchers gave him to me too, I vomited in my mouth. But after explanation, it makes sense.
Wild card, bitches!
My dart throw this week sounds like he'd be Chuck Norris's deputy on Walker, Texas Ranger. It's Case Keenum. So put him up there, kid. On this season, he has done nothing because he's a new starting quarterback. But he's playing Baltimore. And Baltimore on the season have surrendered 271 yards a game for 2.2 total touchdowns to opposing quarterbacks. In the last 8 games, over 300 yards and over 2 touchdowns a game. He's also owned in 2.3% of the leagues. So if he goes off, you'll make that money. There's really not 2 of us getting out of this thing, kid. It's either me Case. God! Quarterbacks, you're done! You're done, quarterbacks. It's time for running backs.
I'm dead sexy.
My first value pick is a Dallas Cowboy. So someone hand me a loaded gun so I can shoot myself in the face. In his last 4 games, Darren McFadden is getting the ball over 23 times a game, rushing over 90 yards a game, and has 1 total touchdown. Out of the backfield, he's averaging over 3 receptions a game for over 22 yards and has played almost 80% of the snaps. Now Romo has returned. He also plays a Miami defense who ranks 31st in defending running backs, giving up over 135 rushing yards a game. And his ownership is great at only 5.7%. Every week, there's a Dallas Cowboy in my resume of guys I'm giving you, and I'm telling you, I hate it.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
My hidden gem this week looks like he went out, bought himself a tent, pitched it in the Wendy's drive-thru line, and ate Baconators all goddamn season. It's I'm always looking overweight Mr. Jonathan Stewart. On the year, Stewart is averaging over 18 attempts a game for over 73 yards and 4 total touchdowns. In his last 4 games, he averages 22 attempts for over 85 yards a game and 4 TDs. This week he plays Washington, who ranks 16th against the run and are surrendering the 4th most rushing yards. His ownership, 5.7%. He may look fat, but he's a bruiser, and he's going to tumble on down and get himself over 100 yards and a touchdown this week.
Wild card, bitches!
My dart throw this week is James Barry White. Without Dion Lewis in the lineup, James White has gotten 71 snaps, which is way more than Blunt and Bolden combined. This week, New England plays Buffalo, and last game, Lewis had 73 snaps, and Blunt only had 7 snaps. So expect James White to play the Dion Lewis role. He's also owned in 0.2% of the leagues. I can't get enough touchdowns, baby. I need you, please, to catch yourself a touchdown, Jamesy. Oh! If you are an avid fan of Bank Breakers, you know that I normally give 5 to 6 running backs every week. But this week I'm only giving you 3, because these are the 3 I'm most confident on. So what I need you to do is follow us on Twitter at bank_breakers. Why? Because I'm going to be tweeting throughout the weekend. I'll be tweeting tonight, I'll be tweeting Saturday, even Sunday before the games, to give you more options at running backs to play. There's a few guys I like out there, but injuries scare me. I don't know who's starting. There's a couple little bit more research that needs to be done, so follow us on Twitter. God, that was a mouthful. Can we please just move on to wide receivers already?
I'm dead sexy.
My first value pick is Danny Amendola, alright? And honestly, I don't think I gotta tell you anything more than that. In the 2 games New England has played without Deion Lewis, Amendola is averaging 10 targets a game, 9 receptions for over 82 yards, and a touchdown. Edelman is done for the year, meaning Amendola slides into Brady's favorite target. He'll also be guarded by slot cornerback Nickel Roby, who grades out as the 20th worst corner in the league. He's a goddamn Patriot and he's playing for fucking Tom Brady, alright? I'm willing to bet you every goddamn buck in my goddamn wallet that he has a huge week this week, alright? My next value pick is Michael Crabtree, or should I say Grabtree. This guy catches balls everywhere. I have literally no idea where that came from. On the season, Crabtree's averaging over 5 receptions a game for over 70 yards a game and has 5 total touchdowns. In his last 4 games, he's averaged over 9 targets a game, 6 catches a game, 82 yards a game, and a touchdown. And this week he plays Detroit, who ranks 26 in defending wide receivers, and second-year corner Nevin Lawson, who's 25th worst corner in the league. Crabtree, baby, yeah. My third value pick has dropped more balls this year than puberty. Yeah, it's Jordan Matthews. In the 9 games Jordan Matthews played with Mark Sanchez last year, he averaged over 7 targets a game for around 5 receptions a game, over 71 yards, and 6 total touchdowns. This week he'll be guarded by slot corner Antoine Werner, who grades as the 2nd worst pass coverage corner according to Pro Football Focus. His ownership is only 5.1%, which is huge. The matchup is fantastic and all the numbers point to Jordan having a huge week. The only thing he has to do is catch footballs. My final value pick might come as a shock to everyone, seeing as he's had an abysmal year this year. It's Golden Tate. On the season, Tate is averaging under 5 receptions a game, under 50 yards a game, with just 1 touchdown. And he grades as the 29th best receiver according to Pro Football Focus. But he's a target monster, with 7+ targets in 6 of 9 games this season, and 2 games with 10+ targets. This week he plays Oakland, who ranks 20th versus the wide receiver. I know he plays for Detroit, which is literally a city of rubble. But I think he's going to have a big week this week.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
My hidden gem this week makes me want to go, Marvin! Oh no, that's Alvin. It's Alvin and the Chipmunks. On the season, Jones is averaging just under 4 receptions a game, over 50 yards a game with 3 total touchdowns. But when A.J. Green is shadowed by the #1 cornerback, his numbers increase to over 5 receptions a game, 68 yards a game, and 2 total touchdowns. This week he plays Arizona. That might rank 9th against wide receivers, but he'll be guarded by Jerron Powers, who's the 24th worst corner in the league. My dart throw this week is the once studly Ohio State Buckeye who, as of yesterday, I thought was working at an Exxon Mobil. It's Ted Ginn.
Wild card, bitches!
On the year, Ted averages over 6 targets a game, under 3 receptions a game for about 45 yards and 3 total touchdowns. But in home games, he averages over 7 targets a game, over 63 yards a game, and has 1 total touchdown. This week he plays Washington, that ranks 19th against wide receivers, and more importantly, Chris Culliver, who's the 5th worst cornerback in the league. And at a 1% ownership rate, that's a steal! Not only will he fill your gas, but I'm hoping he'll fill your point sheet on your FanDuel team. This feels like the end. Come on, the Titans.
I'm dead sexy.
My value pick this week is a Dallas Cowboy. Now, I can't shoot myself in the head twice in one show, so you know what? I'm just going to tell you I respect this guy. On the season, Witten is averaging almost 7 targets a game for over 5 receptions a game, around 50 yards, and 2 total touchdowns. But in week 1 and 2 that he played with Tony Romo, he averaged 8.5 targets, 7.5 receptions, 58 yards, and 1 touchdown per game. This week he plays Miami, who ranks 19th against the tight end. And with an ownership rate at 4.1%, that's great. Yeah, he's on the worst team in America, but you know what? He's a consummate professional. You can't get mad at him for that.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
My hidden gem this week is a guy I gave to you last week. Everett Ebron, Everett Ebron, remix, Everett Ebron. On the season, Ebron's averaging about 6 targets a game, 4 receptions a game, for over 45 yards and 3 total touchdowns. This week he plays Oakland. That ranks 30th in defending the tight end, and his ownership, 4.1%. Believe me or not, I'm just an MC, but this is some catchy shit. Every Ebron.
Wild card, bitches!
My dart throw this week has got a name that sounds like the old bitch you lived next to in college that disrupted every party you ever had. It's Colby Fleener. In his last 7 games, he's played 71.5% of the snaps with 7 targets, over 4 receptions a game, around 40 yards, and 2 total touchdowns. And in the 2 games he played with Hasselbeck, he had 7.5 targets a game, 5.5 receptions for 46 yards, and a touchdown. This week he plays Atlanta. That ranks 29th in defending the tight end. And his ownership, 1%. Hi, I'm Colby Fleener. I live right next door. You're being a bit loud. If you wouldn't mind keeping it down for the rest of us in the neighborhood. Oh, the positional players are done. It's time for defenses and kickers. Can we get them a slide, please? Defenses. I like the Seattle Seahawks, the Kansas City Chiefs, the New York Jets, and the Arizona Cardinals. Kickers. I like Brandon McManus, Kerryon Santos, and Dan Bailey. Alright, guys, that's it. That's the show. I'm kidding you. No, I know what you want. You want the elite plays. You got some money left over. So, here they are. And of course, the moment you've all been waiting for the entire episode. The teams I'm going to play this week. Here are the FanDuel DFS teams I'm going to play this week. Here are the DraftKings DFS teams I'm going to play this week. Here's my cash game for FanDuel. Here's my cash game for DraftKings. Alright, people, you know what happens after I give you my ultimate teams. It's the end of the show. Now it's time to go home. Also, if you win money this weekend, tweet at us. Tweet at us the lineup you played and the amount of money you won. And you might be the bank breaker of the week. You know what that means? Prizes, prizes, prizes. What's our Twitter handle? Bank_breakers. Tweet at us. Also, stay on Twitter because I'm going to be telling you other running backs to play. If guys are down with injury and they don't start, I'm going to be telling you guys to sub in for some of the value picks I suggest you. So follow us on Twitter. But until then,